Hello people, this is Individual. Welcome to Quasimorph 101, your first playthrough. So, we left here yesterday and we were about to talk about our mercenaries and classes. But first, let's pose ourselves a question. What did we learn yesterday? Basically, that opening a door on your last AP or stepping into a door with your last AP can be a very bad thing, and that's something we should try and avoid from now on. Other than that, the tutorial was pretty basic. We learned to move, we learned different walking stances. We have sneak, we have walk, we have sprint. Sneak allows us to do inventory and actions for free. We detect enemies. Walk is just normal mode. And on sprint, we do have 3 actions, but our accuracy gets decreased and we can't do any actions or interact with anything. So, that out of the way. We did the tutorial with Francis, which is already assigned to Scouts of Hades, and we also see we have 3 more operatives named Victoria Boudica, Percy Fawcett, and Easy Capet. Percy has 135 health, decent melee damage, crit damage is good, we got decent strike accuracy, actually good strike accuracy, decent range, normal dodge, we have good starvation limit, 8 side range. We will talk about side range on this next mission. 10 pen threshold, and his special ability is 120% weapon durability, which is not a 20% as you might think. It's actually a 220% weapon durability. Let's compare Francis to Vicky. For starters, we can see the health is way lower and melee damage is way lower. Strike accuracy is 10% lower, but we have a 5% plus ranged accuracy, so she's going to be a better shooter. And we've already established she's weaker and she's not as good in melee. Dodge is the same, starvation limit is 200 calories lower, side range is the same, pain threshold is lower, and her special ability is +2 distance weapon range. We will talk about weapon range also when we get into the next mission, but as things stand, we already know Victoria is going to be squishy compared to Francis. We move to Percy, and here we can see that's a different beast. So we got 150 HP, that's even 15 HP higher than Francis, already we've seen is tanky. Melee damage is decent, not as good as Frank, but better than Victoria. Strike accuracy is even better than... No, it's the same as Francis, but range accuracy is lower. So the game wants Percy to be a melee character. Our dodge chance is 25%, which is 5% lower than the other guys. So maybe melee isn't the best option, but it's a resort. We see that starvation limit is 100 kilocalories over what Francis had. Side range is also 8. Pain threshold is 16. Okay, that's way higher than the other ones. We have 10, we have 8, here we have 16. And a special ability, Percy does get all resists to get a +12, which in resists actually translates as 15%, something like that. Last but not least, we've got Easy. Easy has 100 health, so we see she's about middleweight. Her melee is the same as Francis, better than Percy and Vicky. Strike accuracy, so melee, is going to be 55. That's very good. That's the highest we've seen yet. Range is the worst we've seen. Dodge is actually the best we've seen at 35. Her starvation limit is very low. Her sight range is 7, which is lower than everyone else. But the pain threshold is actually almost as good as Perseus. As her special trait, Easy ignores infections. So, okay, I can see a few use cases for that. As for classes, we do have Scouts already assigned on Francis. Scouts gives us some basic perks. Every class you're going to have gives them. So, Scouts Hardened gives us a 10% on all resists. Okay, seems good. That's at level 1. I guess it's gonna improve with time. Training gives us range accuracy. Good as well. Shooting any weapon gives us 4 experience, so this is gonna scale. Close quarters specialist gives us a reduction in scatter. Okay. As the tooltip says, this is gonna apply to submachine guns and shotguns. So maybe running scouts, we want to run submachine guns and shotguns. Okay. Combat focus actually gives us a plus 40% flat at level 1 for dodge whenever we get. I'm actually not sure if this is getting attacked or we attacking. I think it's we attacking. We will see that. Then we've got bodybuilding. That gives us health. Okay. Seems good. Last but not least, every time we get hit, I would think, we get a plus 25% to all the damage. Okay. I mean, seems to me like Scouts wants to be a tank. It gets plus accuracy, it wants to go with shotguns and submachine guns. Good. Eclipse Blades. I mean, Blades kinda gives it away. We've got Night Fight, which is melee accuracy. Combat Reflexes, which is dodge chance. Whenever an enemy misses us, we get 5 experience, and this is going to give us a plus flat dodge improvement. Athletics gives us a way lower reduction on the accuracy penalty when sprinting. Good. Taste of Blood gives us regeneration whenever we get wounded. Carnage gives us melee damage whenever we kill an enemy with melee. That's also good. And Cannibalism also improves and boosts melee damage each time we eat meat. I mean, the game is kinda telling us something here whenever we want to go Eclipse Blades. We have to do things we might regret, but it is the way it is. So, with that out of the way, there's gonna be more operatives, there's gonna be more classes, but we must find them as we get going. When we left, Frank was actually very positive. He wanted to get into this mission here, and really think we should do it. So, great, I'm glad that honor is not an empty word to you, boss. Just in case, I'll remind you about the standard mission prep interface. On this screen, we choose the operative who will go on the mission, the chip with combat skills that would be integrated into the freshly printed clone, and the equipment that we will issue to the fighter for the mission. So, this is the bioprinter screen. Here, you can choose a fighter to go on a mission. The list includes both those who survived the previous missions and those who need to be printed. Each of the fighters has their own parameters and unique talent. They all have been through a lot during years in combat in every corner of the solar system. Well, Francis wants to go down, so let's choose them. As for armor, we're seeing we have some options. Basically, what we brought from the tutorial, and we also have a glory metal armor jacket. Well, he's scouts, so makes sense. For pants, we only have 2 pairs of jeans, so that's an easy choice. And then we've got Stahanovets and sneakers. I mean, Stahanovets give better protection, but we're gonna find better things on the mission, so let's just take the weaker ones. We then want a vest and a backpack. Other than that, we will get a pistol and we will get a shotgun. Why am I choosing this pistol over the Hydra 12? Well, the Hydra 24 is an improved version of the Hydra, but the best trait it has is actually the laser sight. Laser sight, as we seen yesterday, gives us a 90% accuracy whenever we're inside the weapon's effective range. That's good. Criticals are disabled. That's bad. But we will be using this weapon mainly as a finisher. We want something that's very accurate and that will allow us to just finish people. And that's what this is going to be for. We take some backshot, and we take some 9mm, which is the ammunition we're going to be needing for both of those. Then we just take a bit of wood and a sip of water. Taking water is not just for the plus 5 HP it's gonna give us. I always like to bring something into my missions that gives me the ability to extinguish fires if we were to receive get set in fire. That's mainly the reason why, and that's why we're bringing this. Other than this, it would be good to bring some medicals, but we're actually very low on everything, so we're just going to go with this. We will find stuff along the way, and we will be able to disassemble things for raw materials. So with that done, we just get into the second tutorial. There's some fluff text, but this is not the usual Rock City map, so it's going to be different than the usual one. We will talk about maps and tilesets when we get into our first real mission. Keep in mind that we're not getting paid for this. Taking a contract would have been a better idea. Civil Resistance has set up a field camp in Rogue City, training complexes as well as some kind of medical facilities or labs. It's unclear. Sometimes messages flash in the SBN that terrorists are accumulating rare and variable items, weapons and equipment for their liberation struggle. Maybe we can justify the time spent here if we're lucky, so let's get even. But let's do it with benefit. Get to the anti-space defense complex and destroy it. After that, the pilots will direct Magnum to the cargo dock in Rock City, and we will start loading everything that's lying down. This is a different mission than the usual ones you're going to get later. This is a story mission, and as such, it's not as procedurally generated as the other ones. We still get a random layout, but there's some elements to it that are fixed. Our scanner sees several ways to solve this problem. First, there is a main elevator connected to the cargo dock to the control center. but the numbers of biosignatures at the elevator is extremely high. Obviously, there is a quite strong security there. Secondly, there's a bypass route through the stairs and warehouse level. I would recommend using the second option as our main plan, but if you feel confident, you can act as you think best. So, this is the usual thing we will find when starting a mission. We are at a landing pad, we have the shuttle. We later can upgrade that said shuttle to bring and take away stuff from the missions, but as things stand now, this is our unimproved shuttle. It's tanky, but it can get damaged. And then, well, it's about the same we talked yesterday. We have three stance modes, and we want to complete the mission. Our mission's objectives are to destroy Rogue City Station's Missile Defense Control Center, and for that we have to go to the control center. We're at the docking bay, so let's get started. These are explosive barrels, as we saw in the first tutorial. It's always a good measure to actually take the fuel out and avoid an explosion later. That's if you have the time. We begin exploring and we find a toilet. I'm just exploring more loosely because this is the zone connecting to the landing pad, and usually it's empty. This being a story mission means that's not always true, but as we start getting into other rooms not connecting to the elevator, we will want to be more careful about the way we're negotiating doors. Here we find our second element of cover. This is a roguelike. This is not a tactical game. As such, it treats cover quite differently from your usual strategy game. You don't have a lean from cover, so what you're gonna have considered as cover is there's a sort of hard cover and half cover in this game. As elements of hard cover, we do have things like our shuttle, where if we stand behind it, whatever is not at the instant tile behind it is gonna have a hard time reaching us on the other side, and from it we can shoot freely to the other side. Then we've got containers. Containers are also hardcover. It is always best to find a 2x2 container. These are very sturdy, but there's also different shades of it. We've got the 2x1, which is also very good, and this one is also providing us cover in two directions. That's also good. And then we have the 1x1 hardcover. As we said, this being a roguelike means there's some extra considerations to be talked about cover. Cover needs to provide a defense in a straight line or a slightly diagonal one. If you're gonna get shoot at diagonal, we would not get cover from this. If I had someone shooting to me from, let's say, the door, I would not be in cover right now. To be in cover from the door, I would have to be either here, and then the cover object would stand between me and the shooter, or actually here, where this is a tricky one. I might get cover from the door, but to be sure, I'd actually be here, and then I would have no doubt about it. Another way of getting cover would be to stand where the barrel is, and then we would have cover from the door, we would have cover from anyone being here on these tiles as well. If we had no wall here, we would also have cover from all this side. So this is a pretty tanky position to be in. The only positions you are going to get damage from is if someone is in these tiles here. Then we have half cover elements. Half cover elements can be such things as shelves, containers, as the water container we found before, or even tables and chairs. These things can stop some shots, but they're not as good as you might imagine. They're gonna get blown away the very second they start taking damage. There's an improved version of half cover, which is the concrete slabs. Concrete slabs are gonna stop some of the bullets coming at you, but if the enemy has enough volume of fire, it's gonna get bypassed and even destroyed. So you better pay attention to that. That being said, the best way of having cover is actually denying line of sight to your enemies, and as such, most of the times when we're engaging enemies, what we want is to not have anyone at all that has line of sight to us or can reach line of sight to actually hit us. Once cover clarified, and we will talk about cover whenever we're fighting, let's keep on. So we open the door, we wait, and we get into the door with a full turn. We keep moving, we've negotiated this. Now there's two ways about entering a room. And this is where the landing pad ends. So this is where we're going to get serious. We have a very powerful thing, which is sneaking. However, when you are sneaking, you don't want to be on the tiles directly adjacent to a door. You want to be a bit further back so you can listen. You're going to have can't remember now from the top of my head, I think it's a 6 tile radius detection around you, might be bigger. You correct me on the comments if it's not right, but we've already established we have no one on the immediate vicinity to us, so let's move, let's actually open the door. We get back into walk mode and we peek, and we see we're not seeing much. So we talked about vision range earlier. Frank had an 8 tile vision range, which means that from where Frank is standing, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tile range. That's something that's changed recently in the last 2 patches. Before, you had to start counting where you were. So Frank would only have seen till here. Now we got an extra vision range, which is a good thing to have. If this were a different save, I would probably do, if this were a more complicated mission, what I'd probably do would be eating one water and dropping a plastic to avoid that the door is closing. Why would I do that? What I'm seeing in front of me is a hallway with no cover at all. If when I start moving up, I actually find a patrol enemies who are coming towards me, what I want to do is have a ready fallback route, ready to retreat. And to avoid getting caught in the door, having to open it, I would very much like to have the door open so I can step in and just disappear from line of sight if needed. So, we're seeing the edges of the corridor. So we're about to negotiate one of the worst corridors you can find. We have a straight line corridor who is being crossed by another corridor. What we want to do here is start dancing, opening line of sight as we move. So we've got the best side we can on this side and a decent one on that one, and then we want to step one back. Then I'm gonna push, and on an 8 radius I'm seeing I've got no enemies. Why I'm doing this? I mean, enemies in normal do have, standard ones do have a 5 vision range, so it's not that important to be doing this. This being said, there's never too cautious. We could have had a door on the second or third tile after the corner, so being cautious about negotiating corners is a very good thing if you don't want to get shot. And getting shot is something we will suffer whenever we're negotiating corners, entering new rooms, so better get used to it. Now, if you will allow me, I will make a small pause because I'm actually running out of boys. I'll be right back in a second. For you, it will be instantly. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that and about the jumping music. So, we've been walking around, but we still haven't found anyone. Let's talk about the enemies in the mission. In every mission, we're gonna have a power concentration for the mission. This was actually stated before we took it. This was a 750 power concentration mission on a 3-story. This means we're actually gonna get 250 power per level, which roughly translates to, let's say, 15 enemies. These 15 enemies will have different compositions. We will have regular troops placed in spots, will not move much, and if the pot, these enemies, actually has a leader, they have the chance to actually start what's called a patrol. A patrol will move around the corridors, trying to guard the objectives, running from, let's say, wherever they spawned to the landing pad or the elevator. So you have to be aware that there's enemies moving around. This is not your usual tactical game, which means you don't have an activation phase. Enemies are always active, and that's something we do have to bear in mind. That being out of the way, let's actually keep moving, but I'm on run mode, and this is my last AP. Again, this being normal probably means I could keep moving, no problem, but we're gonna pass the turn and just keep moving now. We see a storage with 2 poppy straws. These poppy straws are raw materials that are used to actually build things, but we're not gonna take them yet. We get into stealth mode and we check the room below, and we haven't seen anything at all. That's good. That allows us to keep moving. I want to check angles just to see if there's something around. There could be someone in this tile. This is a tile that it's obscure to me, and it could walk on me, but that's something we will have to live with. We open the door, and we actually see one of the worst rooms we're gonna find in some Mars bases. This is what I usually call the melee murder room, because you can have enemies hidden in here that are actually very dangerous, especially in missions against civil resistance. So we're gonna go into stealth mode to detect and pass a turn. We see nothing, we keep stealthing. Now, moving here is actually kind of a bad move, and I have the detection range to actually mostly be sure I have nothing near me, so we start moving, but we keep being cautious. Okay, this is a cul-de-sac, there's nothing in this room, but we're now sure there was no one in here. And we keep moving. Sooner or later, we will find someone. We've actually heard the door open, close, and it was the door we closed behind. You want to be very aware of these sounds you have around, because they're gonna give you a clue on whether you're gonna get jumped or not. This room we've opened is a special room that we're gonna talk about in a second, but first, before stepping in, I'm gonna take a turn, a skip turn here. Now I walk. Get into sprint mode, negotiate, and I'm actually seeing that I have one person here patrolling. This is probably part of a pod. But what I can't do now is step back, because she's a two-mover, and from one step further, she will have a shot at me. So what I'm going to do is swap to the trusty shotgun and shoot. Well, we've triggered a contextual text tip because we're actually in the stealth room that connects to the warehouse. But we've successfully negotiated this encounter. We killed the enemy, and we're actually seeing we've got no one in the near vicinity. However, there's a door open. What we want to do is just step forward, as this will obscure the first two for whoever was coming. I mean, anyone who could have been here wouldn't have had a shot on us. Then we step and we see that we've got 3 enemies in quick succession. This is bad, but we are in run mode, so we can start trading shots with them. Okay. This is a special case. We've actually missed quite a lot of our shots here. This was turn 84, so we dealt 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, actually, we hit everyone. But we missed one on the Brigadier, which means she's injured, but she's not dying. Now, she's carrying a wreck, which is quite the weapon, but if we actually stand here, we're gonna get shot twice. Or even worse, we're gonna get shot by the work node, and we have someone behind with a terrifying weapon. This is going to be a weapon you never want to give line of sight to you. These guys, this is a cutter. This is one of the Tech 1, Tech 2's weapons that can do crazy things to you. As you see, for perks it has amputates when injures. So this weapon has an increased chance that an injury will result in an amputation. And if we actually go to our health menu by pushing H, we see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 possible injuries we're getting. The cutter is a cut weapon, so an injury by cut, what means is an amputation. If we get an amputation here, it's insta-death. if we get an amputation here or here, we lose one of our weapons. If we get an amputation here or here, we lose our ability to run. So it is quite bad to get an injury from amputation. What we will do is step back. And yeah, we're getting shot once, but we're scouts. And we dodge that one. I mean, right now, as things are, we have a 13% dodge, which has to be subtracted from the enemy's accuracy. In this case, this being your regular brigadier, I would guess they would have something around a 50% to actually hit us. We're seeing exclamation marks here. These exclamation marks mean this group of followers has been alerted by the brigadier that just shot us that there's an enemy ahead, and now they will be coming for us. So we want to keep mowing here. What we will do is we will get into fire burst mode and shoot, and that clears the brigadier we had injured and regular worker she had behind. It still leaves us with a worker with a cutter. So what we want to do here is step back in. We actually dealt a lot of damage to him. We didn't kill him, but we amputated his foot, we did a contusion, and we fractured his body. So that's decent. We step back, and we see he's actually stun locked, which means we're just gonna take the time to shoot the one bullet. We will get back to stealth, and we will actually look at what we have in front of us. Now, looting. We want to talk about this. This is the first enemy we're finding in this mission, so we will talk about loot and the options we have here. Whenever I get into a mission, I really think on what's going to help me most on said mission and then on the macro strategic layer. So right now, what we need in this mission is ammo. We need medical components, because we went into this with nothing, but we will do with raw materials. As long as we've got plastic and we've got rugs, we're good to go. And we will also be looking for stuff that helps us on the strategic layer. What I mean by that? What I mean is stuff that helps us really get our conveyor going. We lack the materials. Stuff that really helps us unlock other modules of the Magnum. That would be management units, that's the blue pads. That would be switchboards. That would be armor cases, weapon cases, research stations and cloning stations. There's a special consideration to be made for those research and cloning stations until we get bigger backpacks, but we will talk about that when it arises. Some more experienced people will be able to say, I've actually made a cut here and reloaded because we're locked into stealth and we're seeing that there's someone else coming in. Now, we pressed reload before getting in, so we're just stuck into reloading, stuck into stealthing. So there's really no downside as for looting right now. So what we will do is just grab the 9mm bullets, scrap everything, because I want the plastic, I want the rugs, I want the weapon parts, and rubber is also one of the best repair materials for tigers. So everything I got from here is actually useful. There's a special consideration to be made about the mission, and it is that right now we're at the stairs. We could go into the second floor, avoid the rest of the people who's here, and just proceed with the mission. Although this is a very valid strategy for other missions, this starting mission has some special loot drops. At least that's my experience. And I really want to get set special loot drops, so we're going to stay and clear every level of the station. So, we know there's someone else coming. What I want to do here is get back into running mode, although I know I'm going to be standing here this turn. So, we press, we're seeing set person has advanced because between turns we still were in stealth, and now we actually move in. We have reloaded because we took the last turn, and we see we've got another worker with a cutter. That's dangerous. So what we will do is just blast them, and we get back into stealth and advance further. We lock ourselves into stealth. That's important. We change stances just to see if the 5 tiles I talked about earlier are clear. Why did I say at least 5 tiles? In normal, the most AP an enemy can have is 4. So you want to know you have a 5 tiles clearance to not be overrun by a melee character. I know 4 AP can seem like a lot right now, but that's the way it goes. We better get used to it. We're already in stealth and we're locked into it, so we get into these persons and we actually see 2 very good things here. New players might not see it, but there's actually 2 things here which will help us a lot. And that is this brigadier here actually spawned with People's Front, which is a very good tier 2 right now, I want to say. Yeah, tier 2. If you actually don't know how I'm doing the bring extra information on the guns or the armor, it's just pressing out when you're hovering over them. So we see People's Front. People's Front is a very solid physical armor, has a lot of cut, and cut is something we're lacking right now. So what we will do is get the 2 parts of People's Front into our inventory. We're going to disassemble the Glory and the sneakers we had. We don't have a need for the rusty metal here. And we actually take the gas mask because it gives us a little cut and a little blunt. We're going to repair set mask. Just so it doesn't fall apart the first time we're shot, and we're good here. I mean, disassembling the wreck, which we can do, gives us a short pipe and maybe even crude metal, I think, but those we don't need right now. So, let a turn pass and we see nobody's in. What we want to do is have a clear sight on the pathway we have in front. We know we don't have anything around us, so now this is about moving. We see we have a clear path in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tiles we can see. We've established, I think, I told you, regular grunts can only have a 5 vision distance. That means this tile we're not seeing. If someone steps here, they have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If they are 2 AP, they can shoot at us. This is a dangerous step to negotiate, so what we will do is actually step back, get into running mode, step back, and just advance like this. Why did I do this? Because I know this room and I know it doesn't follow. This is one of those steps you probably as a new player have to experience, which is being here in stealth, moving forward, moving another step forward, and having someone come out from here and shoot at you. Nothing you can do about it, it happens. We keep looting, because that's what we're here for. So get rid of the materials we don't want, but keep harvesting the ones we want. We have a box of food, but we already have all the food we need here. There's a special something we can get from the cutter. I was actually looking for a crude mechanism on top of the rod. Maybe we got it on the floor. No, we didn't, but that's okay. We keep the rod. Rods are also important for what we're trying to accomplish here. We're probably not going to be able to keep all the things we're trying to extract from here, but for the moment we're quite lightweight, even though this is, bear in mind, everything you take on you is going to affect your ability to dodge the shots that are coming towards you, but we're okay with what we have right now. So also here, that's what I was looking for. So crude mechanisms and rods are actually a very good recipe that gives you engineering kits. They might look like they don't have a use right now, but they will later on. We also take the spring, because springs, plastic, and weapon parts are actually a part of a recipe we want to use a lot. That being done, we keep going. We know there's no one in 5 tiles, so we get back into 2 move, open the door. We see we have clear line of sight towards here, get back into sprint, and dance. Dance around and see that there is no one actually threatening us. And I mean, you can get out with a lot on normal, but getting used to opening line of sight by doing the crisscross dancing is actually one of the things that later on, when you actually dabble into other difficulties, will probably save your life more than once. Grab the spring, disassemble the box, we keep the food we have on the hot tubs. It's actually not that different, and we keep moving. We could have had someone step in from the door, but that's a risk we are going to have to take. And the other video I just checked, because it's been over a day since I last recorded, was already at 45 minutes. The 10 minutes we've taken here actually make it close to 1 hour. I want to keep this not very long, so even though I want to keep exploring the level, because I know there's stuff that might have dropped, I think this is a good point to actually stop this video, compile it with the other one, and release it, so you don't get overwhelmed by a 3 hours video as our second video of the playthrough. With that in mind, we press reload on the shotty, we step behind our half cover. As being here, someone had entered. It's actually debatable. Probably this style on the corpse was a much better one, as we wouldn't have had vision line of sight to the door, but that's already made. Anyway, we keep on from here, but that will be next video, probably in 2 days, if I'm lucky, tomorrow, the day after releasing this one. But in the meantime, have fun, don't be overwhelmed. I know it's a lot to take in early, but we will get better in time, and you will be able to follow what I'm saying with more ease don't worry. And above everything, remember, this is a game. It's a quite masochistic game, but try to have fun while playing. That's it. Indie Over. See you next time. Have fun.